Yeah, and I want to talk about leadership and feedback. And if you're on the leadership team, your behaviour, your roles, how you behave to not only hold yourself accountable to the standards and the agreements and behaviour, but helping the team perform and optimise its potential. Because as I say, as a leader, you're responsible for the integrity of the rules, the standards, the systems. In other words, if we've agreed on it, I've got to live it. I've got to lead by example. The trick, of course, is to get the team to be self-managing so they are harder on themselves than you might ever be as a leader. But as we say, as a leader, as a member of the leadership group, you have to lead by example. You have agreed with the team to set those rules. Now you have to be the ones adhering to them and be seen to be doing what you want done and not doing what you don't want done. So as I say, before you bother with feedback, make sure you start with the goals, the directions, the expectations. Make sure everyone knows what the team goals are, what's expected of them as individuals, and we've done that in the team sessions. Where are we heading as a team? Where do we want to go? What do we want to achieve? And then what do you expect of me as a leader to make that happen? Well, obviously, one, lead by example. Two, the leadership group needs to be tight. As I say, if there's a crack in the leadership team, there's a tidal wave in the team itself. So you need to make sure that the leadership team is tight. So if you guys have issues amongst each other, you sort them out behind closed doors. You certainly never bitch about the coach or other members of the leadership team. You sort that out behind closed doors. And the newer I am to the team, then the more I need to be told and instructed very clearly what is expected when you join this team. So 3 big questions before you start to give feedback to someone. Questions to ask yourself as a leader or a coach before you give feedback. So with the person you're dealing with, is it an attitude problem or is it a skill problem? Is it their attitude? Do they have the skills and they're just not displaying the attitude? Or is it they just literally don't have the skill? Also, what outcome do I want from the feedback session? Well, I want them to pass the ball higher. I want them to cover tighter in defence. I want them to not be messing around so much at training. I want them to stop bitching about other people. And have I got my own emotions in check? Because if I'm really angry with the person and I dump all my anger on them, that's not going to help at all. So I need to control my own emotions. Next tip, the best person to give you feedback is the person you listen to best, which in most cases is yourself. So get you to give the feedback. The other thing is feelings turbocharge feedback. So when you talk about feelings or get the person to talk about feelings, it really does turbocharge the feedback because people remember emotional events. And so memory is coded on emotion. So you remember happy times, you remember sad times, you remember exciting times. And so when you're involved in feedback, talk about feelings. So feedback, if I'm going to actually elicit feedback, get the person to give themselves feedback, what are the facts? Mate, so what actually happened there in that game? What happened in that defense situation? What happened in that attack? And let's not talk about excuses or tell me a story. What actually happened? The facts. Now, what did we originally agree on as far as how we're going to handle attack? What did we originally agree on when it came to bitching about other people? What did we originally agree on when it came to how we're going to defend? Great. So what do you think that's actually meant for the rest of the team? What do you think? What are the consequences of you doing what you did? And how do you think I feel about it? How do you feel about it? How do you think the rest of the team feel about it? You haven't even told them how you feel about it by asking how they feel. You elicit those feelings. Okay, so what's the lesson? So what do you need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again? What changes to the system if we need to change the system or game plan? What do you need to do? What changes to your system, to your pattern do you need to make? Note, you haven't told them anything. You're giving feedback by asking questions. Okay, so what are we going to agree on? What are you going to agree on that you're going to do differently moving forward? Great, because I'm really happy with so many of the things you're doing, and I just want to talk about this one thing. So we really do appreciate you as a contributor. So let's leave it at that, because when it's over, it's over. I'm not going to go on about it, but is that okay with you? Note, a check question. Great. Shake their hand, pat them, let's get on with it. That is a process to elicit feedback. That is where they give themselves feedback. If you really want to turn the heat up on someone where they've continued to not respond to coaching feedback, said, mate, we're going to have a feedback right now about some of your behaviour. Now, remember we said there was going to be no bitching. Remember we said we we're going to be positive. Well, mate, last night I heard you going on and on about some of the words. You're telling them quite specifically what they did or what you heard or what you saw. I got to tell you, mate, I'm really pissed off about that. It's just not good enough. I'm not unhappy about it at all. Stop, silence. Once you've said that and talked about your feelings, stop and let them soak in the feeling. Now, mate, you are a super important person in this team. We really appreciate everything you do. Mate, I want to see you successful in this Australian team. I want to see you bloody do so well. And I'm not going to go on about this anymore, but if you got the message, what are you going to do differently? Because when it's over, again, shake the hand, move on. There's some other key questions here that you can be using with people. What's been working for you? What's not working? What did we originally agree on? What's happened? What hasn't happened? What do you need to do about it? What did you learn? What are you going to do differently? So how will you know when you've played a good game? How will you know when you're successful? Again, I'm not suggesting you ask all these questions, but these are all what I call million-dollar questions. What would you like me to do or say to if it doesn't happen? How are you feeling right now? How are you going to feel when you're successful? So what are the top 3 goals you've got right now? What are the top 3 priorities you're working on in your game, in your training? What steps are you going to do to make it happen? So these are just some of the questions, everything. So what are we going to agree on from now on? Who's going to do what by when? What do you need from me to support you to make that happen? These are all million-dollar questions you can be asking as a leader, as a coach. Praisings, mate, right now I just want to tell you what a great job you're doing, because when you did that attack and you drove extra or you set up that pick, mate, it was absolutely fantastic. And I got to tell you, and again, be specific. I'm going to tell you, mate, it made me feel so proud for you to be in the team. I'm just so excited by what you've done there. That's exactly what we want. Step 5, stop, let them soak in the feeling. Mate, so next, keep doing that. I want to encourage you to keep doing more of that, because that's exactly what we need. I want to see you be a fantastic success on this trip. I want to see you be a fantastic success in the team and have a great water polo career. So is that okay with you? So they're ways to give constructive, useful feedback. So for you as a leader, for you as a coach, what are some of the things you will start doing? What are some of the things you might stop doing? Not the least of which, as I said, we don't want to be seagull managers dumping on people. We want coaching and feedback to be specific, positive, helping people actually improve rather than just dumping our own emotion on people. So what do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to continue doing? And what's going to happen when you do that? What's the payoff if you do that? And if you don't do that, what are the consequences? So there's some coaching questions for you as a leader, because you've said one for all for one, a united leadership group, working with the coach in a very constructive way, working with each other, and then working with the team to be a high-performing team. Hope that's helped. Leigh, Farnell signing off. If you need any help, give me a call, send me an email. I want to see you guys realise the potential of your team, be as good as you possibly can be the best you possibly can be. All the best.